Wouldn't you like to play your C major diatonic chords like this? So obviously what I played was a little bit clickbaity or word baity because I didn't exactly play my C major diatonic chords. What I did instead was actually add what I like to call secondary dominant substitutions in between each diatonic chord. So rather than just me running up the C major diatonic chords like this, between each note, I added a passing chord. Now I'm going to teach you how you can do this so that you can spice up your playing, whatever songs that you're playing and progressions that you're playing. If you're like, oh, how do I add more passing chords or how do I spruce up my playing more? This video will teach you exactly how to do that. So there's three things we need to know in order to learn how to implement these secondary dominant substitution passing chords. Number one, what is a dominant chord? Number two, what is a secondary dominant? And number three, how do we substitute our secondary dominant chords? So the question is, what is a dominant chord? I guess the best way to do it is give you a demonstration. Many of us are familiar with this progression. That was a 7-3-6, or how about the 5-1-4? Or how about the 6-2? Or how about the 2? So all that I did right there was actually utilizing secondary dominant chords. Now, if you weren't able to hear them with your ear, there's a good chance that you're not familiar with dominant chords. So what we're going to do is start from square one and work our way up to the complexities. Now, many times we're familiar with the 2-5-1 progression to take us to our C major chord. Often we replace the regular G major with a G dominant chord. What's not really replacing is just adding a note to it to give it some more tension, which will pull it back to the 1. So 2. So how do we get that dominant chord? So we find the 5th scale degree of whatever chord we're targeting. In this case, it's C major. So we're going to find the 5th scale degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once we find that 5th scale degree, now we're going to play that major scale for that 5th scale degree, in this case, G major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And now we're going to play the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th scale degree. Now this is a G major 7, and if what we do is flatten that 7th scale degree, we have a flattened 7, or like a G major 7, flat 7, or a G dominant chord. And that dominant chord will pull us to our target chord. Now, the thing about dominant chords, this will completely blow your mind, is that dominant chords don't only take you to major chords, but they take you to minor chords. Now that we understand that dominant chords can apply to both major and minor chords, we can now understand the concept of secondary dominance. So in the key of C, our 1 chord is major, our 2 chord is minor, our 3 chord is minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished, but you can also play your 7th 7 as a 5/7, or you can play it as, right, a dominant 5 chord just inverted, right? Instead of me playing G, I'm just going to move this up back to my 1 chord. So what this means is that I can use dominant chords to pass to every single one of my chords in my C major scale or any chord. So instead of me just applying the dominant concept to my 5-1, I can go to my 2nd scale degree, for instance, which is D minor, and play the 5th scale degree as a dominant chord to my D minor. So my 5th scale degree in the key of D minor, right, is A. So now I can make an A dominant chord. And actually, to find dominant chords, you can use either the major or minor scale. The dominant chord will be the same, right? If I go to my 5th scale degree in D major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's also A. So I can play my A dominant chord, and it will take me to my D. If I want to go to E minor, for instance, right, I can play my 5th scale degree of E major or E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now form the dominant chord, 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And now, or that voicing wasn't really nice. Okay, that's better, right? Now, if I want to go to F major again, I'm going to go to my 5th scale degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have C. Now I'm going to form my C dominant chord. So you can see how I'm going up my major scale and I'm applying dominant chords or secondary dominant chords to each and every single chord in my C major scale or whatever key that I'm in. So you can get into the habit of rather practicing my C major scale just straight like this. I can now apply my secondary dominant passing chords in between each note, right? So if I play my C major, before I pass to my D, I can play my A dominant to take me to my D minor. Now I can play my B dominant to take me to my E minor. Now I can play my C dominant to take me to my F major. And keep on going, D dominant, E dominant, takes me to A minor, and I can maybe do some version of a D dominant. Let's do a fancy. So hopefully you understand the concept that I'm putting down. If you get it, leave in the comment section below, oh wow, this makes sense. If it doesn't, leave a comment telling me, and I can maybe break it down a little bit more in another video. But now we're on to, I guess, step number 3, right? Which is now applying or forming our secondary dominant substitutions. So now I'm gonna show you how you can apply substitutions to your secondary dominant chords. So oftentimes I found that in gospel music, or like music that's played in the church often, people will use these rootless versions of chords, which means rather than me just playing my C major chord like this all the time, I may play my C major chord like this. And what I'm doing essentially is I'm playing my C major, right? My C major chord on top of the 3rd scale degree of my C major, right? So here's C, here's my 2nd scale degree, here's my 3rd scale degree. Now what I'm gonna do is play C major or C major add 9, add 2, whatever, over that E, and it also sounds like a C still, right? So I can go like this. And both of these can functionally be used as C. In fact, I can also play my C major chord over G, the 5th scale degree. Many of you may have heard that sound before. So again, if I go now to F major, for instance, I can play F major like this, but now I can substitute my F major with the 3rd scale degree. So let's go to the 3rd scale degree of F major, 1, 2, 3. And now I can play that F major over A. Same thing with G major, for instance. I can play my G major chord and I can substitute that with the 3rd scale degree, 1, 2, 3, and play G major, maybe something like this. Now what we're gonna do is apply this same concept to our secondary dominant chords. So if I start on my C major and I'm passing to my D minor, rather than playing my A dominant like this, to go to my D, or what I can do is substitute my A dominant chord with the 3rd scale degree. What's the 3rd scale degree of my A dominant chord or my A major chord? Well, here's my 1, here's my 2, here's my 3. So rather than me playing A dominant, I can go like this. So now rather than me sounding like this, I can sound like this. And what you will notice is that the secondary dominant substitution chord is always a half step below my target chord. This is an easy thing to remember, so it doesn't matter what I'm going to. So for instance, let's look at A minor. I know that my secondary dominant substitution chord is going to be a half step below my A, so it's going to be A flat or G sharp, right? So normally if I'm approaching A minor, I would approach it from my E dominant chord. What I'm going to do now is apply my substitution. So I'm going to start on my E major or my E dominant chord and go to the 3rd scale degree. And now put my E dominant chord. I can do any inversion of it. I can add any notes. So at the beginning of the video, what I essentially did, I did add a little bit of spice and twist to it. But what I did is I played C major, and then I played A dominant. Watch this. And what did I do here? Oh, I'm probably gonna have to break this down in another video, but this is still a substitution, right? Look at this this chord right here. Now this, you may look at this like, oh, this is a G minor chord, and it technically is, but what I'm actually doing is this is actually a C dominant, right? So rather than me just substituting my C dominant with the E, I'm actually doing the substitution with the G. So this is another useful trick that you can learn when it comes to substituting chords. Not only can I substitute my chord with the first scale degree or the third scale degree, I can actually substitute it with the fifth scale degree and even the flat 7. And there's even more that you can do. I may get into this in another video. But essentially what I did is I played, I'm just using this sort of as a filler passing to get to my dominant chord. And what this is C dominant to take me to that F. This one, this is not really like a second. I mean, you could look at this as a D chord, but it's really a passing to my 1/5. So I approach my A minor like this at the beginning of the video. And what this is actually a 2-5-1. This is my 2. It's actually B minor. I'm gonna touch on this in the next video. And this is my secondary dominant. And then I did my 7 chord as like an inverted 5, and I'll break that down in a future video. I probably blurred out the screen so you didn't see it. So what I'm gonna do now is maybe play around with a chord progression that you're familiar with and apply these secondary dominant chords and secondary dominant passing chords. And I want you to see if you can hear where I'm implementing them, or rather I'll just show you where I'm implementing them to show you what you could possibly do. So rather than playing the 6-4-1-5 progression like this, you know, when it gets boring, add. Okay, so I was doing a lot there. I was starting to get carried away because I love music. I love just playing around. But just to show you a little bit of what I did. So again, I start on my A minor chord and I'm going to my 4 chord next. So when I'm going to my 4 chord, I have a host of options, right? I can play this, and now I can go to my C dominant chord, something like that, or I can use my secondary dominant substitution where I go A minor, right? This is just my C dominant chord. I'm adding the 9 right here. Again, add 9 to your chords. And it's taking me to my F major, or when I play my A minor. So again, that's me using that G minor, which looks like a G minor chord. But what it really is a rootless C dominant chord, which will take me to my F. And now when I'm going to my 1, I can apply my G dominant chord to take me to my 1. And I like to go crazy on G dominant chords, like, you know, 13, flat 9, flat 11, flat 9, sharp 11, you know. And I'm gonna do a special video in the future. I already have it planned where I can show you how to unlock unlimited passing chords. Literally, there's limitless passing chords. I know my channel is called Limitless Keys, but stay tuned for that video. It's gonna be really awesome. I will show you, yeah, just stay tuned. So again, when I'm going to my 1 chord, I may do like that G dominant or a G dominant, and I'm making it like a 13 chord, different like flat, you know, flat 11 or flat 9. Sharp 11, different inversions, different things that you can do. Not inversions, but different things that you can do. And now when I'm going to my G major, right, I can, or this one is another passing that you can do. This is actually just a G dominant chord, or my D dominant chord. Look, here's my D major chord, my D dominant chord, right? And all I'm doing is inverting it and putting it over my dominant, that's C. So you would look at this and think this is a C chord. It's not a C chord. What it really is it's a D dominant, but I'm just playing it over one of its inversions. So rather than me just playing regular D dominant, I could put it over this or this or this. And now I'm going to my G chord. Here's a substitution for my G, right? Instead of me playing G, just substituting it with its third scale degree. So again, let's just put this together again. It may sound something like this. I'll show you this in the future. Sorry, I messed that up. Mistakes are real, guys, but hopefully you get the point. Hopefully you can see how you can apply these secondary dominant substitutions. If things didn't make sense and you want more of a breakdown of some of the things that I did because it was kind of fast, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll be happy to break some different things down for you guys. But if you enjoyed this video, again, it was helpful in any way, shape, or form, consider liking, subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment, telling me what you think, and I will see you in my future videos where I show you how to do some very crazy things and where I'll show you how to do unlimited passing chords in even a future video. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.